going on from there, the second thing is the very worst goals they can pin their hopes on. Say, I want to be a millionaire. I want a big house. I want a Bentley. I want 50 people working for me. All right. I want the big contracts. The thing these goals all have in common, is this, and it's one of the most pernicious things, well, in life, because they'll see it everywhere, and that is they're all goals they don't control. You don't control whom you get as a client. You don't control the size of the contracts you get. You don't control the kind of clients you get. You don't control. I mean, let's get very clear. I just want to interrupt myself there. You do control the kind of clients you accept, but you don't control the kind of clients who come to you. You influence it, but you don't control it. Mm-hmm. Yeah? You don't control how much money you've got. You might think you do, but you don't. Because if you go to, I think it might have been Zimbabwe, a couple of 3 decades ago.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Well, what happened was some bloke owned a load of casinos, and someone else wanted to buy them from him, and he wasn't going to sell. So the bloke who wanted to buy them spoke to his mate in government, who nationalised all the casinos, basically took them into government control, and then sold them to this bloke who wanted to buy them. So that can happen to you. The government can confiscate your money, can confiscate your property, and give it to someone else, sell it to someone else. That they privatised or nationalised the railways. I beg pardon, they nationalised the railways. There are still people who want to nationalise the railways again. People nationalised all kinds of industries. They sold many of them back again under the Tories, probably a bit before your time, Connor, Margaret Thatcher and stuff. But if it went one, it's been nationalised once, it can be nationalised again. So governments can effectively do anything they like. In fact, it is enshrined in English law. The overriding interest is the government's interest of the day. So there's no such thing as the constitution. There's no English constitution. There's no Republican constitution. It's not a republic. So the government can effectively do anything they like. And it's even worse now because you're not in Europe. So there's no Charter of Human Rights. Whatever you think about the Human Rights Act, good or bad, I don't think it's got a lot of shit in it. The fact is the government in the UK can pretty much do what it likes because that's what the law says it can do. So you could lose your fortune. You don't control any of this. You could die tomorrow. Then you're definitely not going to reach your goals unless your goal is to die tomorrow, of course. So all these external goals, big house, big car, loads of money, beautiful wife, even seeing your kids graduate from university, because your kids might die too. You can't control that either. All these goals are predicated on external events. If you pin your hopes and you rest your satisfaction, your sense of self-worth, all those things, if you rest your happiness, you predicate your happiness on these things, there's a very good chance you ain't going to be very happy. Now, I see people on LinkedIn going about, I want to be rich. And people who say money's not important have either not got any, or they've got so much it ceases to be unimportant because they have so much. And anyone who says any different, they're either poor or rich. Well, that's a false dichotomy, because there are people like you and me who say, yeah, money's great to have, but it's a preferred indifferent. It's better to have it than not. But if I haven't got it, I'm still going to be happy anyway. That's me. They come out with this bullshit false dichotomy. Well, that's because I don't rest my happiness. I don't have goals that I don't control. And my goals are all in my control. And so essentially, I'm going to do my best at everything I do. That's it. My results are preferred indifference. My good results are preferred indifference. Prefer to get good results, but if I don't, I get what I get. And it all rests on me then.
Yeah, and that's why they are the best goals to have. And on the contrary, the worst goals to pin your hopes on are the goals that you don't control.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Oh, and the thing is, most people get that wrong. Most people, if you were to go around 100 men and women and ask them what their goals were, I suspect probably 90 wouldn't have any at all. They'd probably come up with some vague wish, like, I want to be happy. Which isn't really, I mean, it is a goal, but the way they state it's not a goal, it's just a vague wish. And of the 10 who did have a goal, I would guarantee that of that 10, 9 of them would have a goal they don't control, such as being rich, being famous, being the biggest plumber in fucking Pimlico, getting a lead part in a major film, that kind of thing. They are goals you don't control. By all means, strive for them, but don't rest your happiness on them. And please don't tell me that it's entirely in your control, because it isn't, Whether or not you reach your goal is not within your control.
Yeah, destiny.
Not if you've got external goals.
Destiny and fate, they're completely outside of your control, and they don't exist, to be perfectly honest. So it's far better to. But we have to be honest. It's hard to come round to this way of thinking, and it takes time. We see it in our foundations group.
And effort.
There's a moment, a lot of effort. There's a moment it clicks for people, and it's like the weight of the world just goes, and they then become, I'm going to say the word you hate, laser focused with their work, and it's just all about what can I do today to move me that one step closer. And their goals largely become, right, over the course of the year, I want to perform this one action several hundred times, because ultimately they've looked at their numbers, they've looked at their figures, and they've realized if they make this action that they controlled, with the numbers remaining consistent, it should churn out X amount of profit. However, they're not pinning their hopes, their goals on the profit. They're almost reverse engineering it.
Yeah. I mean, to use an analogy, I think it's a good one. I use it a lot, the Fit Pro, because everyone understands it. Everyone's been on a diet or knows someone else who has. Now, I was 52 when I got my six pack for the first time, and I've maintained it for the last 4 or 5 years. And all I do is I've got a simple set of rules. I've got workout 4 or 5 days a week, depending on what routine I'm doing. Eat fewer calories than I expend, and keep my protein high to preserve or build muscle. And that's pretty much it. Well, if I do the actions which are required to make those 3 things happen, so I do the workout, I do the exercise to burn the calories, and I exercise restraint to the amount I eat, and then I'll make sure what I do is high in protein. Very simple actions which are absolutely within my control. I control whether I work out. I control whether I eat too much or too little. I control if I exercise. I control all of those things. I know if I do that over a period of time, biology and physics and chemistry will dictate, the laws of the universe, physics, science will dictate I lose fat and get my six pack. And guess what? That's what happens. So all these people who focus on, I need the six pack, I need the six pack, they're wasting their time, because what's that important are the actions. And I also, I just know if I do that every day, it will work. You don't get a six pack in a week. You don't get fat in a week. But if you carry out those actions every single day, actions will take you the direction you want to go to. It's just like walking along a path. Take enough steps, you can travel any distance.
Yeah.
And we all know how to walk.